Welcome, everyone, to Let's Talk Real Estate Investing. In this series, we share experiences, knowledge, and learnings from other real estate investing professionals and experts to empower you to build your personalized real estate investing strategy. My name is Debbie Balfour. I'm a real estate investor, I'm a real estate investing success coach, and I coach my clients who are real estate investors to build their personalized real estate investing strategy and scale efficiently so that you can start enjoying financial and time freedom. We're all unique, and therefore, I believe that each of our strategies needs to be unique to us. I'm really excited today to introduce my special guest, Michael Arthur. Michael is a realtor, a real estate investor, and a real estate investing success coach, a coach. Um, he's He's a proud father and a husband who values his family as his motivation and inspiration to serve others. That's his why, his motivation behind everything he does, right? His family is that motivation. In his spare time, Michael loves to spend time with his friends and family, traveling, doing meditation, weight uh, training, public speaking, watching documentaries, and he does mixed martial arts. So don't mess with him. He's also a self-proclaimed foodie who loves to go out and eat at various international cuisines. Today, we will chat with Michael after we learn a bit about his journey in real estate investing, about 3 costly mistakes new real estate investors make to lose money. So I'm really excited today. I've been following Michael on LinkedIn, and today's the first time that I've actually met him in person. And I reached out to him to be part of this podcast because I really enjoy the things he says. I enjoy the journey that he's had, and I feel it will be really beneficial and inspirational to all of you. So welcome, Michael. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks
Can
for
you
inviting
introduce
me.
yourself a bit more and tell us a bit
Yeah,
about your journey in real estate investing?
yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm originally from Toronto. I was born in Toronto, raised there for about 18 years. Then my parents decided for me to go to live on my own, where I attended the University of Windsor, where I graduated with a bachelor's degree in public policy administration. Then I advanced myself to get more education, where I went to graduate school in Ottawa, where I graduated with a master's in public policy administration from Carleton University. Then after graduate school, I started to work in government. I worked in areas ranging from risk management to online privacy, policy development, and so forth. And how I started to get into real estate was due to a setback. That setback, Debbie, was I was struggling financially. I had a lot of debt as a single guy, and I bought my first house as well at the time. And I accumulated a lot of debt. Specifically, I accumulated just under $66,000 worth of debt. And at the time, I was scraping by, living paycheck to paycheck, and I had to find a way, an outlet to make money, additional money somehow, right? So I came across some friends I met in the neighborhood where they started to renovate their basements and convert them into in-law suites. So I said to myself, okay, this is a great opportunity. And the basement that I in my first home, it was my actually my first home. It had a private walkout doors. So I saw this as an opportunity to convert it to a in-law suite. And at the time, housing affordability was an issue, which is still prevalent today, right? So I decided upon myself, since I'm not using this space, why do I convert this empty space into a in-law suite, a bachelor apartment suite, and rent it out? So what I did was I hired a contractor. We went through the due diligence process. He converted. He did. I got the materials for him. I just paid for his labor, and he converted everything. Everything from a empty basement into a bachelor pad that had a kitchen and a bathroom. And then from there, I started charging rent, rented to several people who came by throughout the years. And I still have the property. Actually, I still have a property where at the time I was living above. I was living on the main floor, and the tenant was living in the bottom floor, and that's pretty much in technically that's how I got into real estate. That was my first investment property, and strategy is called house hacking, as you're familiar
Yeah,
with that.
but we didn't know
So
that word back then.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's what I did, just to help me, which helped me pay down my debt and my help me with my housing expenses and so forth. So I had an extra stream of income on top of my salary working for the government. Yeah,
I think that's amazing. And I think that's a really good example for a lot of young people out there that may be struggling, but may think that I can never get into, I hear this all the time and I hear parents saying that too. Oh, my child can never get into the market. We're just priced out of the market. But there are
right,
ways if you truly want to. And one of those ways is to, either go in with a bunch of other people and, know that you're not going to have your place to yourself, but you share
right.
that mortgage, or you do
Yeah,
like you did and you house hack and you can suite, you could even, you stayed above but you could move down into the basement
yeah,
and then give them the main residence to someone else getting more income
exactly.
in there too.
Yeah,
So yeah,
right.
so there
Yeah,
are ways of doing it if you're willing to
yeah,
share your space
yes, for
with
sure.
others.
Definitely take
So
advantage of it. Yeah,
I think that's a
yeah.
great example. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So once you did that, Michael, like how did you go from there? Like how did you like what are the strategies that you have been doing in your journey in real estate investing?
So after I house hacked my first house, I used a burst strategy, right? And then what I did was I got the house when the house was fully renovated, I got it appraised. Then I did a refinance and I took some of the money to pay off my renovation costs. And at the same time, I used my money to buy another property, a townhouse, an end unit townhouse, which I converted into a duplex
Wow.
using the burst
So
strategy again.
mhm,
Yeah, I was using the same strategy that I did on my first house.
mhm.
And at the time where I bought the townhouse, it was losing money. So I decided let's convert that basement into a in-law suite, a one
Mhm.
bedroom in-law suite, and then made money
So
from
you're
that for
rinsing
sure.
and repeating the strategy that worked well for you. You said, okay,
Yeah,
this worked really well. We're going to rinse and
yeah,
repeat. And just for those that are listening that may be new to real estate investing, the burst strategy means you buy, you renovate, you rent it out, you refinance, and then the last R is the repeat, which Michael did. He took the money and
right,
then bought another place and doing it again. So,
right. Exactly, exactly from there. And then from that point, I used my house again, my first house again as leverage, refinance that again to help myself and my wife buy our dream home, a bungalow, which I'm currently living right now. And then I rent out the main level of my first house. So yeah, so from that point there, so we used the refinance as a down payment to help buy our dream home, and I wrote it down actually to have to like for myself. I wrote it down during my at the start of my real estate investing journey. I wrote down and said I want to buy a bungalow home. Like I detailed it and it manifested. So it's just it was great. Yeah.
definitely. I love the manifestation, and this is not woo woo. This is not like some magic. It's actually your
No.
brain.
Right.
Because you want it so much. That's the
Hmm.
manifestation. You want it so much that
Right.
you're like, I have to get this. If you don't
Right.
get it, you feel like you've lost something. So
Right.
that's the whole power of
Definitely.
manifesting, writing it down, thinking about it
Yeah.
daily. It's not woo woo for
Yeah.
those people that think it is.
Yeah.
It's
No,
actually,
you have to do the work. You have to
yes,
look at it, do the work, motivate yourself because my motivation was the desire to say to myself, look, I don't want to stay where I am. I want to have change my life for the better. I want to get out of my bad financial struggles to become more abundant with my resources, with my finances and stuff like that. So I took advantage of those opportunities that I learned from my friends and from also learning from multimillionaire mentors and coaches who taught me some of these strategies that I just mentioned to you right now. So I took advantage of those opportunities, and I'm using that to help my clients as a realtor, as well as a real estate investor success coach as well. Yeah, just to transfer that knowledge to help other people. Yeah. Mhm.
That's wonderful. So are you continuing doing, are you still doing the burr strategy right now, or are you doing something else?
I'm doing something else. I've done something else. I have also got into the private lending space where I have used my RSPs to lend to people, whether they're buying their first house or investors. I lend out my RSPs to those people to use it as a down payment on my house, and they pay me not only the interest payments back, but also the principal. And in addition to that, they pay me administrative fees as well because they're getting the benefit of using my money for their benefit, right? So it's a win-win for myself
Right.
and for the borrower. So that's what
So
I've been doing as well. Go ahead.
So just quickly around that, around private lending, because a lot of people go out there and they feel they're dependent on what people are offering them. So, oh, Debbie's offering me X%. This is, these are
Right.
Debbie's terms. It
Right.
sounds to me with you saying administrative fees, etc. That did you write
Right.
up your own private lending agreement, or are you going with
No,
others?
so I had a team. I worked with a mortgage broker and a lawyer who
Mhm.
specializes in private lending. And this is important for new real estate investors. Get people who are also real estate investors who have that experience and expertise. Because if you get somebody who's general, there's going to be costly mistakes that will happen.
Mhm.
So I advise new real estate investors, if you want to get into private lending, surround yourself with a team who are real estate investors and who have that experience and who are trustworthy as well, right? That's
Right.
the important thing. So I got a lawyer to draft up an agreement between myself and the borrower, and it laid out the terms and conditions of that. I read through it, and everything was smooth sailing. Mhm.
Awesome. So it sounds like you determine how much you want to lend out your money for,
Exactly,
not depending
exactly.
on
And
other people to say, oh, I'm going to give you X amount.
no, you tell them, look, I'll lend you this money for this amount of term, and the frequency of the interest payments, I want it to be paid every month. If you don't pay every month, there's a penalty fee that's applied, right? So
Right.
you need that in your contracts. You need to have a dispute resolution clauses in private lending contract so that the borrower is accountable and making sure that make those payments, or else they will face the consequences. That's the
Yeah.
reality, right?
And
So
we're seeing a
yeah,
lot of that today
yeah,
because of what's happened in the market. A
yeah,
lot of people are defaulting and they're not
yeah,
paying. And so I like what you're saying about the penalty too, because these people are like,
right,
well, I can't pay you, so I'm not going to. Well, now it's going
right,
to, not only do they can't just miss those payments, they're going to actually
right.
also pay a penalty on top of it.
And that's where people who are doing that, using that practice, is that they take advantage of lenders where lenders are accept promissory notes, which is a bad move. I advise anyone who's watching this, okay, let me tell you, and you know this already, Debbie, do not accept promissory notes at all because they're not legally binding. What promissory notes are is basically saying the borrower saying to the lender, "Look, I'll pay you this amount of money," and that promissory note is not attached to any security instrument. It's an agreement between you and the borrower. So the borrower can, if they borrower can default, and he can't even take them to court or anything like that. It's not legally binding, and they can get away with it. So I advise you, do not take promissory notes of any kind when you lend your money. Make sure the money that you're lending is secured against a real estate property, any type of real estate. Real estate is a security to protect your money.
Yeah. It's
period.
not worth it for
Yeah,
the little bit of percent more on a promissory note
yeah.
that you could lose your
No,
life savings over. And this is what's
and
happening
I
today.
see it's right now. You hear horror stories. Yes, a lot of people
Mhm.
lost a lot of money from
Yeah,
using promissory notes. Unfortunately, yeah,
definitely. So awesome.
yeah.
So Michael, what is the type of what's the mindset you need to develop as a new real estate investor to become wealthy?
Well, you need to. I call this the abundant mindset, where you have to shift your way from the poverty mindset, which is basically I was raised that you have to save money to make money, which is not the case. You need to use those savings to invest in money making assets like real estate, the stock market, private lending. That's the mentality, because you want to be in a situation where you want to create multiple sources of income to minimize your financial risk, right? Because living on a single income this day and age in this high inflationary environment, unfortunately, yes, the inflation rate came down today, but still the high cost of living, even if you have a single income, is not enough.
No.
You need to
No.
make your money. I know friends are that are who have on single incomes. They get, some of them are getting into real estate. Some of them have second or third jobs, right? Some of them had to either sell their house or file for bankruptcy because they couldn't afford the mortgage payments because they have the high variable rate mortgage.
Mhm.
So single income these days is not the way to go, because back then when I was earning a single income, I said to myself, I cannot just rely on my single income. I have to look at other avenues to minimize my financial risk in case something happens to me, right? So that's what motivated me to get into real estate investing. So yeah.
Mhm.
So
And
that's
that
the
that
mindset you need.
not
Go ahead.
saving, not like saving in the bank account. The money we get as interest is like it's
Mhm.
deval our money is devaluing sitting in there.
Even in the savings accounts, the percentage that you get is at least 1% or less, which is you're losing money, and the
Yeah.
inflation rate is now it's at 2% or was above 1%. So you're losing money. Your purchasing power is gone.
Yeah.
So why don't you invest in real estate or other money making assets that allows you to make more than the inflationary rate, tremendous more than substantially more than the savings the rate in your savings account, right? So that's the type of thinking and education, the mindset that people need to have in mind. Because another thing that's part of the problem why people have that poverty mindset, because you and I, growing up, we were raised in the school system that didn't teach us about the importance of managing our money. We were never
Yeah.
taught that at all. We taught about how to write, how to do math, how to spell, but we're not told how to reduce our income taxes, how to do a budget, how to save, not apart from saving money, how to invest. We weren't taught that in elementary school and high school at all
And we
during
still,
my
and
time,
there's, it's still the case
and
today.
still
There,
happening today.
yeah,
That's the
definitely.
problem, and
Yeah.
that's what's contributing to people finally having a lot of debt, have a lot of financial issues because of the lack of financial literacy at the school level.
And the
Yeah,
belief that you work hard, study, get a job, work for somebody else, you're
exactly.
never going to get rich off of your paycheck. Never.
No, you won't. No, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So let's get into our topic. So what are the three costly
Okay.
mistakes that new real estate investors make that
Mhm.
that people can avoid?
Okay. So the reason why I brought this topic to your attention is that is part of it is my experience, the mistakes I made, I'll explain it to you, and
Hmm.
as well as a realtor and an investor where I've seen people, including my clients, make costly mistakes, and I observe other real estate investors make costly mistakes. I call these the three Ds. Okay. The first one is new real estate investors look or don't even look at the right data. What I mean by data is you need to look at the numbers, where people use their emotions to make the decisions for them instead of looking at the data, which tells them the real story about the real estate market or a property and so forth, right?
Hmm.
So that's where real estate investors make costly mistakes. And then when they don't use the data, or they look at the wrong data, they use other people's opinions or emotions or their emotions they lose money at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, a, a, a very important there's some important indicators, data indicators you need to look for in any market. Number one is employment rates of that local market. Are there jobs available? Are there high quality jobs out there in that market? Because if people are making a lot of money, that's more than the average of the provincial rate or the national rate, then that market is growing. Another one is, are there any new developments in that market? New construction, whether it's residential or commercial, or is there a regentrification of the neighborhood? Those are opportunities where you can invest in real estate, right? Also, at the neighborhood level, is the neighborhood is there a lot of properties that are in bad condition and nothing has moved? There's no improvements to the neighborhood at all. That's where a lot of real estate investors make mistakes. So the data, that's where the data comes into place, the cash flow of the property, the history of the property, and so forth. That's number one. Number two, which is related to number one, is you real estate investors do not do their due diligence. And this is critically important. A lot of real estate investors say that, yeah, this property looks nice. Okay, I'm going to buy it because it's in a good neighborhood. Oh yeah, the numbers look good. Blah 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 blah. And then they buy the property and they realize they're losing money. So they get the wrong tenant. They realize that they didn't know that the property has tax liens on it, right? They didn't know that the property was a grow up, or there was a murder or suicide in that property, which creates the stigma of the property, which makes it difficult for the real estate investor to sell that property where they lose money.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't realize um, that the property has contamination, for example, where they didn't do a home inspection of the property, right? Stuff like that. So that's part of the due diligence process. The last D is real estate investors don't have a clear direction what they want real estate investing to do for them in terms of what they want to in terms of achieving what they want to use from real estate, right? For example, my motivation to get into real estate investing is my family. I want to support my family so that they have the kind of life that they need, that they deserve. Okay. People say, yeah, I want to get into real estate investing to make money. Okay, that's fine, but you have to go beyond that. What's the non-financial motivation for you? Are you looking to use that money to a local charity? Are you going to use real estate as an opportunity to invest in a new business or to support your existing business? Are you using the real estate invest? Are you using real estate investing as an opportunity to put money in your children's education fund, whether it's a registered education savings plan? Are you using it to fund your retirement, your RSPs? Are you using real estate? Stuff like that. Stuff that's non-financial to help your family, to help your lifestyle, to have it the way you want, how you want it, the way you want it, and on your own terms. So that's the overall summary of what the topic is all about.
Definitely. I love that. And some real mindset things are each are in part each of those.
Yeah,
Your second one around the due diligence and why people, would lose money on those things definitely is a lot of that is around again that scarcity mindset that, oh, I'm going to
yeah,
save money here. But that
mhm,
saving money actually becomes costly because
yeah,
they don't do the home inspection, and then then they find out all these different problems. They open up walls,
yeah,
and because
yeah,
things were
yeah.
not
What's like
done properly.
and part of that mistake as well as you could say the data and due diligence is part when the investors look at a property, it looks nice on the outside, but what's behind the walls? What's behind the curtain in that
Exactly.
in that property, right? Does that property have asbestos, for example? Does this property have infestation? And also from a cash flow perspective, what is the profile of the tenants? What's the history of the tenants? Are these tenants paying their rent on time? Are the rents low below market value, which affects your cash flow, right? Stuff like this, a lot of, and then what's the history of the tenants? Are they have they been not paying their rent on time, or are they not paying their rent at all? A lot of new real estate investors don't do that type of due diligence or data gathering. aspect.
Yeah, and the and understanding to the Tenancy Act before they get into this,
Yeah,
because if you're
yeah,
going to
laws and
inherit somebody else's tenant, then know that you're not going to easily get that tenant out. If you're in BC, especially if you're in BC and Ontario, right?
Ontario,
The
yes,
like
definitely, yeah.
if you're in
Mhm.
Alberta, that's a different story.
Yeah. Hmm.
Definitely. So I never inherit anybody else's tenants. I only buy vacant places because I'm a bit
Yeah,
of a
yeah,
control freak and I want things my
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Right?
I don't
Yeah.
blame you. It's your money. You work hard for your money, right? So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't blame you. Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm.
So yeah, so there's a lot of, it's each of those, it's overcoming mindsets, also not getting emotionally involved with the property,
Right.
like
Hmm.
remembering that this is a financial transaction, this is a business, this is not your
Right.
personal home.
Right.
And to
Right.
definitely, a lot of people try to fudge the numbers because
Oh
to
yeah,
make it, to make it for
exactly. As a
themselves. It's you're only
realtor,
fooling yourself.
I always advise my clients don't rely on the numbers because the seller and the seller agents, they fudge the numbers to entice you to make an offer and to buy the property.
Yes.
That's where the due diligence aspect comes into place to look at the real numbers. Is the cap rate really the cap rate of the market, the property? Is the cap rate right? And where's the cash flow? When it comes to cash flow, the rental income, is this, I want to verify income by looking at the rent rules, right? I want to see the rent rolls, the leases. What's the status of the leases? Is it a 1 year agreement? Is it month to month? Stuff like that. Are the
Mhm.
tenants going to be leaving? That's part of the due diligence process. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. How long that
Yeah.
tenant was there? Because if they've been there 10 years, they're not moving.
They're not moving. No. And then paying at the market rent, even below market
Low
rent.
market rent.
Like
Yeah.
when I see that, given the way the tenancy laws are in BC, Ontario, forget it. Just move on to the next property. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That's
Yeah.
amazing,
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
So
Right.
much great nuggets that you've shared with us. Just
Yeah.
learning from your journey to, as a young investor, that how to get in, and as someone that would like a home for themselves but think they can never
Yeah.
get there. You
Mhm.
do have to make some sacrifices, knowing
Oh
that you
yeah.
sacrifice now, for the future. So you might have to give up
Yeah.
that comfort of having to
Yeah.
share your home with other people. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so-
Yeah. It was a good experience. I didn't mind it because it was a private, separate entrance. I was good. I was happy. Separate entrance, and they have access. They mind their business. I mind my own business. No major issues. So,
and the
and I imagine,
great, sorry,
go ahead.
uh,
Oh, no,
continue.
no, and I'm there as well. When I house hacked my first home, I got property management experience as well at the same time, which
Hmm.
built my confidence and my competency. You're right, so yeah,
Definitely. And then you're right there to see what's
right.
happening,
See what's going
right?
on. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, the
yeah.
the the other thing I think, your second townhouse that you bought, did you move into that one?
No,
No,
no. We rent
just purely.
the top floor and the bottom floor. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
just for, I guess, for new investors again, and for young people, like, so you can
Mm,
purchase, like, one way, another way of doing it is, live in your home, fix it up,
right.
house hack it,
Yeah,
then buy another one, move into that one, rent the full
yeah,
amount of that one. Because the advantage of
yeah.
that is you get to do the 5% down 3 times, because there are actually
Okay.
three different insurance companies that you can go through to do that
Right.
5% down, right? So,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
saves,
Mhm.
saves on the down payment part of things. It does make the mortgage
Yeah,
higher because you are paying interest because
yeah. Of course.
on
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
insurance. So it's
Yeah. Sure.
yeah, so
Hmm.
that's a great another thing for new real estate investors who want their own home and
Right.
want to be investing. You could actually do that
Right.
like 3 times. And then you have the time, you're living in the home, you have the time to renovate it.
Right. You're renovated. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. Hmm.
Awesome, Michael. I will continue to follow you on LinkedIn. Let's keep
Yeah.
in touch. Love to
Yeah.
have you back. some other time on a different topic that we
Yeah,
could
for
do
sure.
too on here. But you said that you had a free offer for those that are
Yes,
watching.
yeah, I have a free video. It's an 8 to 9 minute masterclass, which talks about the three mistakes that I mentioned in our conversation. But there's two other critical mistakes that new real estate investors make that people need to watch. That will give them it will blow their mind. It will give them a different perspective about what the expectations of successful real estate investing is all about. And then when they subscribe to that on a video masterclass, they'll get some also other learning resources that they can use for their benefit, ranging from how to buy real estate with little or no money to about how to deal with tenants, how to analyze properties under a minute, stuff like that. They'll get it when they subscribe to the video masterclass.
And where
Yeah.
can they find that? Where could they download
It's
that?
at it's at michaelbarthur.ca.
Excellent. So go to Michael's website. We will flash that how to contact Michael onto the screen for everyone, including his social media handles also, so that you
Right.
can follow Michael. So thank you so much,
Yeah.
Michael. We really appreciate
No,
it,
thank you.
and have a
Enjoyed our
wonderful day.
conversation. Yeah, it was a great conversation. All right.